Hi, I'm Sarah from McClean. Such a pleasure to have you here with us today.
Hi.
Maybe you can begin with a brief intro. I mean, I guess some people will have blitzed through the first season of Blue Lights, but some might be coming to it fresh. Maybe you can just set the scene a bit. What can people expect from the show?
My name's Hannah McClean. I play Jen Robinson in Blue Lights. So a bit of backstory to the show. Series 1 follows 3 rookie officers in Belfast. And I play Jen, who is kind of 2 years into the job, a bit big for her boots, I think that's fair to say. Her mum's very high up in the force and is kind of living in her shadow and trying to get away, trying to get out of kind of the tough side of the job, trying to get off the front line and trying to shelter in the office and kind of curb the hard work. No spoilers, but kind of a big moment at the end of the series means she kind of rethinks her options and rethinks her career. So when we join her in series 2, we see that she's training to be a solicitor. So she's picked up on her law degree that she did years prior, and she's got a placement at a solicitor's.
And I guess when you jump on board with these shows, you're never really sure how it's going to land with audiences, whether it be renewed. Seeing how it's connected with people must have just been such a wonderful feeling. And, what do you think it is about it? Because there are a lot of police dramas out there. What do you think sets this one apart?
Yeah, there are a lot of cop shows, but I think what sets Blue Lights apart is it's very character driven. And the characters that Adam and Declan have written, Adam Patterson and Declan Lawn have written, are fully formed, fully realised, and they're people doing an incredibly difficult job, which just so happens to be policing. You learn about them as people first, and then how these individuals react under these kind of intense circumstances that they find themselves in. And I think there's a human element that maybe not all cop shows have. Just the fact that it's based in Belfast and is kind of unapologetically Northern Irish. There's no kind of curbing the dialect and the words we use and our accents, and it's a proper reflection of where we're from, I think.
And jumping back in, coming into season 2, I mean, it's quite clever in a way that it's a year on, so you can kind of return to your character, but you can kind of think about, okay, well, what arc has she gone on? Where do we find her now? What might be different from the first season? So did that feel like, and also getting the gang back together, that you've already been working with on the first season. So how did that feel?
Oh, it was amazing to be back. I mean, there's no guarantees that your character's gonna survive, and not just in terms of their lives, but their lives within the show. And I was delighted to get the call to say I'll be back initially. But also the cast and crew on this show are phenomenal, and we've made really great friends. So to come back and pick up where we left off was a complete joy. I think with my character in particular, she's living in the kind of aftershock of what happened at the end of series 1, and it's changed her fundamentally as a person, and we pick up where she's trying to make sense of that or not. I think she's kind of suppressing a lot of trauma around that, which is just a very interesting thing as an actor to delve into.
And what's also really clever about the show, and I guess it's partly to do with who the writers are and how much love and care they've put into the way they've written it. But there is a lot of history, and the backdrop of Belfast is very much there, and I think that comes out through your storyline as well. Kind of going back and investigating the bombing that happened in 1978. So was that something you sort of found quite interesting to delve into as well? And how much did you have to do any background research for that?
Definitely, yeah. I actually did a fair bit of research this series, because all the news stories around the legacy bill at the minute shows how many people are living through these kind of legacy cases, and the legacy bill that's been passed through the House of Commons means that they're perhaps not going to reach the outcomes that they'd hoped. So Jen's looking into legacy bills, particularly looking at Happy's story. So if you remember in series 1, he talks about the bombing that killed his brother and dad. And she wants to try and find some resolution for him. she's kind of taken over Jerry's place, and that Jerry used to be the one to look out for Happy, and she's kind of trying to fill those boots.
Another aspect that we were talking about earlier this morning, you know, this great tone that sort of seamlessly can jump from, you know, these really intense kind of traumatic moments to, you know, being back at the station, you know, lunch boxes and banter. You know, how did you find kind of playing that? I mean, I guess it's close to reality, whether you're a police officer or not. You know, that those things sit side by side.
Yeah, I think there really is quite a dark sense of humour in Northern Ireland, and I mean that in the best way. Like we can find light in some of the darkest situations, and as Declan mentioned earlier, Northern Ireland's had its fair share of dark times and dark history and past. So as a nation, they've had to find light and joy where they can, and I think that's really reflected well in the writing and the show. And this show could only have been written by two Northern Irish voices. They kind of capture that essence, and I wonder if maybe that's why it's gone down well at home, because it feels genuine. So I don't think I find it that glaring, because I'm probably used to that kind of approach to situations, the light and the dark. Like, I always say this about Paddy Jenkins, who plays Happy. He's kind of like a clown in the most traditional sense. Like, he can make you laugh 1 second and then you're in tears. He's such a fantastic actor, and I think he's a real reflection of that kind of essence of the show.
And I guess on that thread as well, the fact, even though it's dealing with lots of sort of like dark and gritty situations, there is this sense of kind of hope and optimism that sort of comes out of it. And I wonder if that's also what keeps people coming back and wanting to watch it more, that it's not just something that's very bleak.
Right, yeah, it's not, I mean, there's a place for these shows, because I love a crime drama, but it's not all, you know, dead bodies piling up and whodunit. It's more, life's hard, isn't it? Here's how we get through it. And that's just on a human level. That's what people are doing in their lives, no matter their background, particularly nowadays. Like, there's a lot of grim stuff happening in the world, but it's kind of, to save yourselves, you have to find the humour, find the light. And yeah, I think perhaps we reflect that quite truthfully.
And as we said as well before, of course, first and foremost, it is about entertainment, but the fact that it is weaving in all this stuff about social commentary, you know, like, is everything just a bit broken, you know, like social services kind of crumbling around us and the impact that has on people, but then also humanising the role of being a police officer. And actually you're there to, you know, just like anyone trying to do a good job. So even though, yeah, first and foremost, it's getting people into the narrative, into the story, but there's also another message kind of in there too.
Yeah, I think Declan put it really well. I heard him say this, I think, last series. Everyone in this show lives in the grey. And I think maybe traditional cop shows, there's the good guys and the bad guys. And even maybe within the police, there's like the really bad corrupt guys, or, you know, something like that, which of course exists. But I think what makes this show relatable is everyone has flaws, and they might be aspiring to be good people, but that's not always possible. And I think whether you're in the police force or whether you're in a crime family, everyone's kind of dancing around in the grey, and it's not black and white. And I think maybe that's what's relatable.
And it does look like you guys all had such a blast, like making the show. Did you have some favourite moments, whether it was working there on set, or kind of a favourite scene?
First series, 'cause I don't know how much I can talk about second series yet, but first series, just being out in the patrol car is always great fun. We don't actually drive the cars. There's like a man on the roof, you know, like Stig from Top Gear.
Actually moving. You're not
Yeah,
just
we're
like,
moving. No, we're moving. But there's a guy in kind of Formula One kind of racing gear on the roof. And we're just pretending, and that was always really fun. Like working with Nathan, who plays Tommy. We had good crack in the car, and obviously Richard Dormer. Like, I learnt so much from him. Just good fun, and like everyone, cast and crew, are just really up for it. I think because we read the scripts and thought, oh God, this could be really good, and we all came with that energy to try and make the best show.
And of course, it's already got a third and fourth season
mad.
planned, which I feel like never happened
know,
before the second one's even out.
It's kind of crazy, isn't it? When they told me, I was like, huh?
So that must be really exciting. Have you also got other projects in the pipeline? Do you know what you're going to be doing?
Just auditioning at the minute. Yeah, so fingers crossed, something will come up soon, but this has kind of taken priority. I think we wrapped just before Christmas.
Amazing.
So excited for the show that it's got life after this series.
Yeah, amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing
Thank
all that
you
with
so
me.
much.
I can't wait for everyone to get stuck into season 2.
Yeah,
Thanks a
me
lot.
too. Thank you.
Cheers.